Hey y'all, what is going on? This is Jesse Boats from the 19th hole, and it is a tournament announcement day. So we're going to talk about the new up-and-coming tournament that we have for you all here. And the first thing we're going to do is definitely encourage you to check me out on my social media platforms. You can find them at the bottom of this screen. You can follow me, subscribe to me. You can join me on Facebook at Golf Clash 19th Hole, which is my community page, or you can message me through the link and the name that you see below at the bottom of the screen. So definitely would like to see y'all do that. The next tournament we have is the Pacific Cup Tournament, and this one's going to start on Monday, January 6th. And this is going to be an interesting tournament that's going to be comprised of 4 different courses. So it's one of those mash tournaments, you know, where they mix and mash them together. We got Juniper Point, the Koh Hong Resort, Maple Bay, and the Gokadho Bay course. And they're going to take holes from all of those courses and make them into one big Pacific Cup tournament, as you can see here. Monday, January 6th is when qualifications will begin. So you'll have 3 days to qualify, which means you have up to 3 chances to qualify. If you don't qualify, you don't move on. If you do, you play in the opening round, which takes place on Thursday and Friday. You'll have both of those days a total of 48 hours to get in 18 holes. And if you finish in the top 50% there, then you move into the weekend round. Again, you have 2 days, 48 hours to finish 18 holes on the weekend round. These are the different divisions that you can play in: Rookie, Pro, Expert, Masters. What you see here on the screen is the first place prizes for these divisions, and then they do scale down from there depending on how you finish on the weekend in your bracket. Each division does come with the ability to win extra club, chests during the tournament, and the way you do that is you win during your matches. So if you're playing in the Rookie, you win Tour 3 prize chest. If you play in the Pro, Tour 6, Expert, Tour 9, and Masters, Tour 12. So these are extra prizes that you can win during the tournament. So you can play the holes, you can win the extra prizes, and then you also win the grand prize at the end, hopefully. These are the rules for the tournament. Each division has their own set of rules. As you can see, the Rookie plays from the first tee, the Pro Expert play from the second tee, and the Masters play from the third tee. The wins do scale up depending on what division you are playing in. The needle speed does increase as well depending on the division you are playing in. And then in Expert and Master, there's this hidden spin feature, which means if you're playing in those 2 divisions, you don't get to see your opponent's spin or ball guide. If you're playing in the Rookie and the Pro, then you will be able to see your opponent's spin during your match play. This is the course that we're going to be playing here. As you can see, holes 1 through 9 divided into 3 par 3s, 3 par 4s, 3 par 5s as normal, and you can see the different courses that are being used here in this tournament. Hole 1 is Juniper Point, par 4. Hole 2 is a Koh Hong Resort, and hole 3 is also Koh Hong Resort. Then you got holes 4 and 5 and 9 are Maple Bay. Hole 6 and 7 is Gokadho Bay, and then hole 8 is a Juniper Point hole as well. At the top of that picture, you can see where you can find these courses to play in Tour. So for playing Juniper Point, you can play it on the West Coast and U.S. Champions Tours, which is Tours 2 and 6. For Koh Hong Resort, Tropic Kings, Tour 7. Maple Bay is available on the Voyager and the World Links Tours, which is Tours 5 and 11. And Gokadho Bay is available in the Club Oceania Tours, Tours 5 and 10. So it looks like if you're playing from the first tee, you have access to all of these holes. You just kind of have to make your way along and around the tour circuit to hopefully, possibly find these holes during practice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take my picture out of the way, and I'm going to briefly go over each of these holes, show you the normal route, and then talk about the elevations that you're going to be using for practice, and we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see what they do during the tournament. Just one second. All right, y'all. So you have to bear with me. I don't have my normal stylus, so hopefully this will work out well. So the first hole we're going to have here is hole 1. Par 4, and it's a Juniper Point hole. It's par 4, and if you're looking, back on older tournaments, you can look at the Gridiron tournament, the Americana Classic, and then the Easter Links tournament. Those are the last 3 tournaments that have used this particular hole. So with this hole right here, off the tee box, we'll play a plus 10% elevation for the shot, and normally with a kind of like a side or tailwind, we'll play our shot to the left-hand side with top spin and right spin. Our goal is to kind of get the triple bounce onto the green. So your first bounce is going to be on this fairway over the sand and bunker. It'll hit on the second fairway, bounce over this sand. The optimal landing spot is the rough area right here, and then it'll roll onto the green. Definitely a chance at a hole-in-one here on this par 4 to start things off, but with a more difficult wind, say like a headwind or like a more difficult side wind, this could definitely be a little bit more of a difficult shot for the tournament. If you're playing in the rookie, you could also just play to try to get your shot onto the second fairway area here, which would be just a one hop from the first fairway here and then over. And then from there, you have a very simple wedge shot to the hole if you decide to play it that way. Your second shot, you're going to be playing it at 0%, most likely, if you're playing it from the right side. We're going to play plus 10% no matter which way we play. But if we're playing our second shot from the right side, it's going to be 0%. This would be the way you'd play if you have a wind that makes it unreachable for your clubs. You would play it to the right side. And what this is going to do is it's going to set up a shot with most likely a long iron, possibly a short iron towards the hole. You definitely want to have a club with a lot of good backspin, though, if you're going to play it to the right-hand side. Most likely, though, you're going to get a wind that is just favorable enough to play it to the left side and go for that triple bounce, which becomes, one of those shots that you really need to be able to hit if you want a good chance at winning a banner on the weekend. So plus 10% is the tee shot, and then from the right-hand side, your second shot is being played at 0%. All right, we'll move on to our next hole, hole number 2 here. This is a par 5 Kohung Resort. This one can be found on the Spring Major Tournament, which is the last time this hole was used. Off the tee box, we're playing plus 10%. And this is a hole that we're playing to the right-hand side. We're bouncing it off this first fairway over the rough. And then you want to try to get a roll out here. I like to try to get up to that shadow, but if you don't get up to that shadow, that's fine. Definitely make sure you are careful about this rough here on the left and the right. And, it's one of those drives that requires a perfect hit. If you have a higher level, like quarterbacks or rocks, if we have a nice tailwind, that may be an option to increase that accuracy on the drive. So for the second shot, we're playing plus 0% for this shot. Oops, plus 0% for the second shot, and it's going to be a wood shot here. Lands on the fairway, and then try to roll it to the hole. Of course, any kind of club with ball guide is definitely going to be optimal in this situation for the second shot. But if you don't, and you have lower level rookie clubs, then you're just going to try to play your probably your Viper or even your Big Dog, just whatever gets you up to that green and gets you in position to make sure you get the eagle. Maybe you'll luckily get the roll in for the albatross as well. But I don't think we'll be seeing the albatross as much in the lower levels as we would see in the higher levels, just because of those developed clubs that you do have access to as far as like the Sniper goes in those higher levels with the better ball guide. Hole number 3, our first par 3, is going to be a hole from the rookies that you're going to be playing with your long iron. If you're playing with the pro expert, you're going to be playing with your wood club. It's a shot that you want to play onto the slope with a lot of backspin and then try to roll it out. Ooh, that was kind of weird. You want to try to roll it out to the green off the slope and use your backspin. With the like the Goliath in the rookies, you're going to be using like 3.5 to 4 bars of backspin on that downward slope, and then playing from the second tee, you're going to be using a lot more backspin than that, just because the second tee is just going to be a little bit more difficult coming in with those wood clubs. And I want to say that last time we had this hole, it was, you line up your rings with the edge of this fringe around the green, so it makes it a really easy aim point if you can figure out which of the lines to line up, the rings to line up on that fringe. We're playing plus 30% here on this hole, so plus 30%. Oops. See if I can get that. There we go. Plus 30%. All right, and we'll move on to our next hole, hole number 4. This one right here is a hole that we've only had one time that I can remember, and that was the Winter Major. And this is a Maple Bay par 4 hole, plus 10% off the tee box. And you have options on this hole. You can land your shot in front of this bunker to the right. You can land your shot more towards the middle of the fairway and go over the bunker that way. These are the different types of options that you have. No matter which way you play this hole, you want to try to get your shot up into this area right here. From there, you're going to have a shot towards the green, and it's going to be another plus 10% for the second shot towards the green. I want you to pay attention to this fairway right there. You see that circle? There is that hill right in the middle of that fairway. So it makes finding a good landing zone really tough. So either you have to land it like right on the top of the hill, or you have to try to land it a little bit back into the right of that hill area, or even maybe a little bit farther up above that circle. So try to find a consistent landing zone for your second shot, and then from there you just kind of have to teeter around with the spins to find that perfect spin for that shot. But it's definitely a difficult shot, mostly because of the hill and the unevenness of that fairway right there. Another option to play would be playing it to the left side, and this is definitely a possibility. I remember seeing it done last tournament that they had this hole. And then from there, people are playing actually a rough bump off that rough. So depending on the wind angle for the second shot, the rough bump right there may be an option as well. You can also play the shot off the fairway, towards the green as well. But I don't really think that shot would be as, high percentage of a shot for the possible eagle. So, going for the rough bump or the shot from the right-hand side are going to be the best ways to play this hole for the chance at the eagle. You could definitely even consider maybe even a dunk attempt, towards the hole this way, but that's definitely going to be a very difficult shot to make as well. I would more focus on trying to dial in a shot with the short iron from that position, personally. Hole number 5, which is our next par 3. And I can't remember the elevation on this one. I want to say it was something like 35% or something like that. But it was one of those holes where you're going to land your shot in this area, and you have to contend with this bunker. So, if you're adjusting down into elevation, you have to worry about pushing your shot up. If you have some sort of a shot where you're adjusting down past that rough section, you're adjusting down into elevation again, and you have to worry about pushing your shot up again. So it's definitely going to be one of those holes that we have to wait and see what kind of wind angles we have, and it's going to be a very difficult hole to gauge, and probably I think one of the more difficult par 3s to get the ace on, probably in my opinion, unless they just give us a really nice wind and we don't have to worry about adjusting down into bunkers or into lower areas of elevation. So we'll just have to wait and see. This was Maple Bay, and this was a hole that you can find on the previous Winter Major tournament. Hole number 6, Gokadho Bay, par 5, and this is one we've seen a bunch of times. I think the most current time we saw it was the Fuji Open tournament, and the way we play this hole is we land our shot off this fairway. We go over the rough. We want to land here just on the edge of the fairway there, and roll our shot up the fairway towards the end. There are some plays where people want to hit the rough on purpose and then just barely roll out onto the fairway. Now, the reason you would do that is if you wanted to try your second shot with a sniper. I personally would rather just roll all the way up to the front of the fairway and go with a long iron, particularly like a B52, or maybe one of your long irons with a lot more accuracy. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to go for the rough bump up here around the green to hopefully try to get the albatross. And this is one of those rough bumps that definitely is tricky, because it seems like no matter how you play it, it reacts like the opposite way. So if you miss left and then you try to offset right, then you miss right. So this is a difficult second shot, and I would assume that it's going to be much the same when we play it in this tournament as well. You know, the other option to play is to the left-hand side. You know, you can try to play it just safe up to this fairway, and then from there, you know, a second shot off this circular fairway and onto the green. The slope does go downwards on this green, so you know you can use that to your advantage to get a roll back down to the hole. If you do play the rough bump, definitely be very careful, and hopefully we have some sort of a side wind for that second shot, so that rough bump is a little bit easier. Otherwise, with like a tailwind, then we'll have to adjust back down into the water, and then we'll have to start worrying about, you know, adjusting down in elevation and, you know, the offset that goes along with that type of adjustment. Some people do opt to play like the complete power bomb shot, where they try to land it up in here, and they just really try to get as far up into the rough as possible to leave themselves a really easy, you know, second shot to skip over or land it on the green. But to me, you really got to try to go for the albatross here. I think this is one of those holes that you can possibly pick up a stroke if you can get lucky and drop the albatross. But I would not say that this is a guaranteed albatross hole, just because of the differences in the way the ball bounces and just the overall toughness of the shot. There's not a whole lot of room to work with, you know, up here around this this fringe, you know, rough line. So it's very easy to overshoot the shot with a bad adjustment, and then at that point you're looking at either the rough or even maybe OB into the water up there. So for the elevations, you know, we'll play plus 10% on the tee shot, and then for the second shot, anywhere from 0 to 5% for the second shot. I played it with 0% and I played it with 5% before, and gotten albatrosses with each elevation adjustment. So, you know, we'll see which one is working the best this tournament. Hole number 7 is next, and this is Gokadho Bay. This is a par 4. We'll play plus 10% off the tee box here. And the last time I saw this hole, I think, was the Fuji Open. The last one was the Winter Major. No, let's see. The last one was Fuji Open. This one is also the Fuji Open. The last one was also the Fuji Open. All right, so hole 7 here. Par 4, plus 10% off the tee box. You're either laying your shot off this fairway strip here. If you have a good tailwind, you can try to fly the bunker, or you can try to play the shot to the right-hand side here and play more for the safe shot. If we get a nice tailwind, we really want to try to land our shot up into that zone right there, off the bounce. And then from there, we have either a short iron or even a wedge shot to the hole for the possible eagle. This is a hole that the eagles will definitely help you in your banner quest, but it's not a hole that that if you don't get the eagle, it's going to absolutely kill your chances. From farther back, it's going to be like a sniper or guardian shot to the green. The elevation will be plus 10% for that second shot. All right. Hole number 8, Juniper Point course. This was used in the Gridiron, the Americana, and Easter Links. Plus 10% is the tee shot elevation. And for the rookies, you play your shot off this lower section right here and just try to judge your spins and your bounce to give you a chance to roll that one out. It's definitely a very possible ace attempt for the rookies. In higher level divisions, you're going to be playing either a rough bump from the left or from the right hand side, most likely, and that's going to depend greatly on the wind that we get. Do be careful, depending on which way we play this shot. if we have a wind that causes us to adjust down in elevation, then we have to worry about pushing our shot back up. And then, the same ways, if we have a shot that works our shot up in elevation, then we have to worry about pulling our shot back a little bit. So definitely keep that in mind when you are practicing, is to pay attention to your adjustments and if it's going up or down in elevation, and then adjusting for that shot accordingly. The winds, like I said, play a complete factor in this hole as to what side you're going to play this hole on. Whichever way you play it on, it's a lot of side spin towards the hole and not a lot of top spin, because it's really easy to roll through. But you just want to make sure you have enough top spin to get up that hill to the hole. Otherwise, if you don't play your spins correctly, your ball can funnel back down that green and then back down into that fairway section right there. So it's a tough hole, and most likely the pro expert will be playing with some sort of a driver, and the Thor, the Rock, the Quarterback are all pretty decent clubs to use on those shots. The elevation, like I said, was plus 10%. Hole number 9, elevation is going to be plus 0% for the drive, and you can play it one of two ways. You can play it to the left, or you can play it to the right. I prefer the shot to the right to get up the fairway to the right-hand side as best as possible. And for me, that leaves the best chance of shot at the hole. But some people do like to play it to the left as well, where you'll bounce over the rough and then up into this fairway section. To me, playing it to the left is more dangerous because you have the chances of going the rough here, the rough there, or even too far through the fairway and into the rough up there. So to me, it's really dependent on the wind that we get. If you get a nice little tailwind, like a left to right tailwind, then the left shot won't be that bad. But with any kind of side wind or a really bad tailwind, like not that great, then that left side shot is going to be more dangerous because it's going to be very perfect dependent, and possibly overpower. That's a shot that you have to use some overpower with as well. If you play it to the right side, you can use the quarterback and the top spin and the right spin and get up that fairway quite nicely. For the second shot, we'll play plus 10%, no matter which side you are on. You'll be playing your shot here to this fairway section here with top spin, trying to roll the shot up to the green. From the right side, you'll be playing the shot to this fairway right here, and doing the same similar thing, trying to use the ball guide on that sniper is going to be your best club to use, and trying to play your spins correctly there and trying to get that shot to drop as well for that albatross. So this is definitely an albatrossable hole, but for the most part, you'll see people walking away with the eagle as long as they play their drive correctly. So definitely make sure that you play your drive correctly, and don't find yourself in a situation where you end up with a birdie here on this hole. Alright, y'all, thank you very much. This was a quick info video with some elevations and some ideas on how to practice these holes if you're able to get into tour play and do so. Thank you all very much. Have a great day. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you liked the video and that thumbs up. And check out, make sure your notifications are set up properly so that you can be sent notifications when I stream live or release new videos. Y'all have a great day. God bless.